Welcome to Daily Curiosity.
The program where we discuss an interesting topic and teach some useful English along the way.
Daily Curiosity.
For curious people. Hello and welcome back to Daily Curiosity. I'm Jane.
And I'm Carl.
Today we're looking at something almost everyone has an opinion on: school uniforms. But before we dive into the data, Carl, be honest. Back in school, did you love the simplicity of a uniform, or did you hate not being able to wear your favorite hoodie?
Oh, I definitely would have fought for the hoodie. I always felt that being forced to wear the same thing as everyone else was a bit oppressive. But parents and teachers still tend to love uniforms, don't they? They say that uniforms improve behavior, reduce bullying, and create a sense of unity.
That is the common belief. Proponents argue that uniforms foster a group identity and even hide socioeconomic differences, so kids don't feel less than their peers. But a new national study of over 6,000 children suggests that these core arguments might not actually hold true.
Wait, so they don't actually make kids behave better?
Not according to this research. Arya Ansari from Ohio State University found that uniforms had no effect on students' behavior, whether it was social skills or aggression. Even more surprising, they didn't really help with attendance either, except for a tiny increase for low-income students that amounted to less than 1 day per year.
That's a huge reality check, considering about 20% of public schools and 60% of private schools now require them.
Which makes you wonder if uniforms are really the solution people think they are.
But what about that sense of belonging we always hear about? Does it make kids feel like they're part of a team?
Actually, the study found the exact opposite. Fifth graders who wore uniforms reported lower levels of school belonging than those who didn't.
Lower? Why would that be?
The researchers think it comes down to individuality. Fashion is a major way for kids to express themselves. When you take that away, they might feel less connected to their school environment because they can't show who they really are.
That makes a lot of sense. It turns out that competitive dressing might be less of a distraction than the feeling of losing your identity.
Exactly. But it doesn't mean uniforms are bad, they just aren't a magic fix.
You've got a point. Improving student behavior and engagement probably requires deeper changes, such as better relationships with teachers, supportive environments, and meaningful learning.
That's why I think instead of asking, should students wear school uniforms, we should be asking, what really helps students learn and feel comfortable at school?
That's a much harder question, but probably the more important one. Well, today's topic has certainly given me a lot to think about. And maybe it means that the hoodie I wanted to wear back then wasn't just about comfort or fashion. It was about being myself at school.
Absolutely, Carl. That's a perfect example of why clothes aren't just what we wear. They can actually reflect someone's personality. Now, let's go over some of the useful English vocabulary from today's topic.
First, we have bullying. This is when someone repeatedly hurts, intimidates, or threatens another person, either physically or emotionally. This is a common issue at schools, colleges, and universities because students spend a lot of time together, and social pressures or conflicts can sometimes get out of control.
Next, the adjective socioeconomic. This refers to the combination of social and economic factors and is often used to describe someone's position in society based on things like their income, education, or occupation. So, for example, when we talk about socioeconomic differences, we mean differences in wealth, education, or social status between people.
Then we have the phrase, a sense of belonging. This means feeling accepted, included, and connected to a group or community. It's that feeling of being part of something bigger, where you matter and people recognize you.
One interesting phrasal verb I noticed when reading the article was the verb come down to. It's used when you want to say that the main reason or most important factor in a situation depends on something specific. So if we say it all comes down to personal choice, we mean that personal choice is really the key factor.
And finally, losing an identity. This means feeling like you can't express who you really are or that your individuality is being ignored or suppressed.
You're right. In the context of school uniforms, students might feel like they're losing their identity because they can't show their personal style through clothes.
Well, whether you're in a suit or a sweatshirt. Thanks for joining us on Daily Curiosity.
Stay curious, and remember, your clothes might not change your behavior, but your mindset certainly can. Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Welcome to Daily Curiosity.
The program where we discuss an interesting topic and teach some useful English along the way.
Daily Curiosity.
For curious people.